All right, good evening, everybody. Can everybody hear me on here? All right. Let me just make a quick adjustment and we'll get started here. Hold on. All right, maybe that might work better there. Let's see. Can everybody hear me? All right. So if this is your first time on here, typically what we do is we talk about meditation, all things meditation. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer them, and then we'll go to and do a group meditation on a Zoom call. So I want to thank everybody for coming. We do. There's no cover charge. We don't ask for any money. The only thing I ask is that you just write where you're from, and that's it. And then if you haven't subscribed to the channel, you could go ahead and do that. That would be great. Sorry, I'm running a little bit late. I'm out of breath to get here. But anyway, had a lot to do there. I don't know what happened to my fancy intro. Typically, I got a fancy intro at the beginning of this, but that didn't happen today for some reason. We've got Nico here from Mexico. Jen from Miami. Jen's a regular, so is Nico. Mac McLeod, good buddy of mine, guitar player. Monica showed up. Elizabeth, Katie. I don't know where Katie's from. Arowana. I probably shouldn't have even tried to say that, but I went for it. So again, also we've got a poll going. I didn't put that many meditations on there. I just put 2, and if you don't like any of those, then we're just going to do a random wild card meditation that we'll just see what happens at the end of it. So a couple of things here. I did put the Facebook group down here. I started a Facebook group that might be easier to communicate for people that show up regularly, because every once in a while I can't do a Monday because just life happens. So if you want to go to this Facebook group down here, go ahead and go there and you can join the group. And it might be easier to communicate with you guys if I can make it on Mondays or not. Sometimes I do these random, lately I've been doing these random midnight meditations that I'll just kind of do at the last minute, so I'll put it out there. So, all right, Katie's from Greer, South Carolina. Nice. That's right. You were here last week, Katie. Thanks for showing up again, I think. And then Viticus from Toronto. Mia Pia from Portland, Oregon. All right. All right, so they can hear now. Good. All right. Jen says she loves the Monday meditation and the midnight meditation. So a couple things. I was going to start off by just sharing that Facebook group. I'm going to leave that up there for now. Also wanted to share with you, I think I've got in the description below these little masks right here. If you don't have a mask, these are the best masks for meditating. I got a link in the description below if you want to check those out. I make like 72 cents or something. I'm not really trying to make money with that, but these are really great masks. And so I suggest you go and get one. It helps with the meditation. It's not a requirement. So I'm pretty sure I've got a link in the description. So if not, somebody could let me know. But I was going to talk about a couple of things. I had some good meditations this week and the week before as well, too. I know that a lot of people that come on here, they get frustrated with meditation, and not everybody, but a good bit of people. But I wanted to just share a couple of things that happened with me, or a couple of things that came up to maybe you can help take that into your meditation, or just help get your mindset right before you go into the meditation. But I had this meditation about a week and a half ago that now this may sound a little crazy, but I had you know how you see like the you go into these towns, these cities, and you'll see like these homeless people, they're pushing shopping carts. And they're just carrying all their stuff around. You look in that shopping cart, you're like, man, what in the world are they doing carrying all that crap in there? There's like nothing in the shopping cart that they could possibly use. They got old tires in there, old shoes. They've got blinds, curtains. They've got all sorts of stuff in there. And every time I see them pushing that shopping cart around, I'm always like, man, what are they doing? They don't need any of that stuff in that shopping cart. That's the last stuff that they possibly need. But in their mind, they think that that may be their whole life. That may be everything that they've got. And so it is, Pavlina showed up from London. Good to see you, Pavlina. Thanks for coming. That may be everything that is their whole life, everything in that shopping cart. And even though we may look at it as crap or just stuff that we would never use, that may be their whole life. Now, I think that most anybody that's on this live stream isn't pushing around a shopping cart like a homeless person, but I do believe that most people are pushing around a mental shopping cart in their mind. And what I mean by that is I think everybody's probably, not everybody, but there's a lot of people, especially people that get into meditation, because you don't get into meditation because everything's just perfect. That's been my observation. You got some things you want to work out and things you want to move past and move on from. But I think that a lot of people are mentally pushing around a shopping cart, and they got a bunch of crap in there, and they don't know what it is, and they don't know why they're holding on to it. So you're sitting there feeling sorry for that homeless person that's pushing around that shopping cart. You may want to do a self-assessment check that, make sure you aren't pushing around a mental, emotional shopping cart. Because it's been my observation, and for myself as well, too, is that I got caught up in pushing around that shopping cart of just crap, just stuff that I couldn't even tell you what it was. I don't even know what it was. You hold on to all this stuff that you don't want to think about anymore, but it keeps coming up. But that's what meditation does. Meditation will help you be able to recognize what you're pushing around mentally in your mind. And once you can recognize it, you can kind of recognize it, you pull it up and you go, man, what am I doing with this whole tire? You used to think that you needed this spare tire in your shopping cart, or, I'll be following my analogy here. But you think you've been needing to push around the spare tire for so long, but then once you meditate enough, you're able to see clearly this is just a crappy spare tire, and you don't need it, just like the homeless person doesn't need all that crap in their shopping cart. They need something different. They need some money. They need a house. They need a car. They need a bunch of other stuff other than just what's in that shopping cart. And that goes the same for us as well, too, if we're pushing all that stuff around. So meditation will help clarify what you've got going on. You can assess what you've got going on in your shopping cart. You can pull it out. You look at it and go, wait a minute, that's dumb. Why am I carrying that around? And you just throw it out. You just throw it out. And it's almost as simple as that. But meditation will bring that up and make it a real 3D thing. And you can actually feel that. Instead of just sitting there crying, why do I have all this stuff in the shopping cart? Meditation will make it to where you can realize, actually, I don't have to hold on to any of this stuff. I can just let it all go. None of this stuff does anything for me, just like it doesn't do anything for the homeless guy over there. So I hope that makes sense. Just wanted to kind of give an analogy. That's kind of what came to me within a meditation. I don't want to say came to me, like just more like that's what I had, that experience and kind of insight within a meditation. So I just thought I would share it with you, that it kind of made a lot of sense to me. There was also several things that Jen from Miami, she said last week was, she was talking about, well, this probably wasn't exactly, you were talking about distractions, things that come up, kind of. You were talking about things that were bothering you, like externally, but I kind of went on a tangent after you kind of asked a question, how do you get rid of those things that, like, you've got an itch, you've got a scratch, the air is just too hot. But moving on, I mean, aside from that, it's also the thoughts that come through into your mind when you're meditating. People get hung up on those, and they think that they're not supposed to be there. And I personally believe that you can't control your thoughts. They're just there. You got nothing to do with them. And so they come up. They may be good thoughts, crappy thoughts. Everybody thinks that you are supposed to not think or have a thought when you're meditating. And only the people that I've found that say that are the people that struggle with meditation. Now, some people may connect with the meditation on the fringe, but with that deep meditation, I never hear any, like, the gurus or experts say that you are not supposed to think or have a thought of anything. I just haven't heard that. I'm sure it's probably out there, but I haven't seen it. But I have thoughts come up all the time. And there's a lot of thoughts that will come up that where in my mind, it's like, I've got like an ex-girlfriend that showed up one time a couple of weeks ago. And I'm like, what are you doing here? Like, come on, I broke up with you years ago. What are you doing in my meditation? Get out of here. And, it was a sweet girl. We still get along. We no bad blood, but I didn't think that. I thought that was a thought that was kind of distracting me from the meditation, but I just went with it. I just relaxed my shoulders and just let it happen. And sometimes I believe that those thoughts are kind of like the doorway or the entrance into the meditation, and you don't know it because you don't get to decide what happens in these meditations. They just happen. It's kind of like watching a movie. You don't know what's going to happen next. But the meditation gives you what you need and not what you want all the time. So if you're expecting something within that meditation, pretty sure it's not going to happen. So if that thought comes up, just go with it. You may not like it, and that's okay. You're going to have the good, the bad, and the ugly in all these meditations. Not all the time. Some of them are going to be great, and you're going to love them. And some of them it's going to be hard to stay in them. But I suggest you do if you are struggling with it. But those thoughts come up, like I could say my ex-girlfriend showed up in a meditation. I was like, "What are you doing here?" So I just went with it, and it started to take me on this little journey. The meditation did that. It brought me around. Had these little breadcrumbs that were set up that took me on this journey, this meditation that brought it back all full circle to where when I started off thinking that her being in my meditation was something that was keeping me from meditating, it actually brought me to a big aha moment for me that was really profound. And I learned a lot about myself. And so that's just getting out of the way and letting the movie happen, letting the meditation happen. And that's my opinion. Meditation's like a movie. Just let it go. Don't try to control what happens next in the next scene. Just go, well, I don't know. They're going to go over here. They're going to do that. And we'll see what happens, So just get over yourself. But don't worry about the thoughts. They're supposed to be there for a reason. Just don't engage with them. Just watch them like a movie and go, let's see what happens. And maybe it goes nowhere. But don't rule out the fact that maybe that thought that came up that you believe is not supposed to be there. Your opinion has nothing to do with these meditations and what you think or believe or what you think it should be. It's got nothing to do with these meditations at all. So you don't get to decide the thoughts that come up. And so that's kind of my take on that there. I don't know if that makes sense, but sometimes I kind of go off on tangents and I start talking, but just trying to share some insights of just what my thoughts are, because I know it's frustrating. When I first started meditating before, I really felt like I connected with it. It was frustrating. It felt like work, and it was hard work. And so, but once you kind of break through that wall and get on the other side, it makes meditation so much easier. Then you go, oh my gosh, well, how come I wasn't here before? Why didn't I just spend the time to get here? Because once you get on that other side, it's so much easier. Where the hard part is when you're on the frustrating side, the side where you're really trying to connect with it. So just be patient, just keep after it and keep playing with the meditation, and don't get too involved with it, but just try something different every time see what works for you. And I would say try something. Don't really try. Just take a little different approach, Do breath work one time. Don't do breath work. Do it late, do it early in the morning. You don't get too involved in these meditations, thinking that you have to do a lot, but just kind of play around with it. And just every time you do it, mess with it until when you connect with the meditation, there's no confusion of what's going on. When you connect with that deep meditation, there's absolutely no confusion. So don't be looking for anything that you feel like you've ever seen before. There's nothing to relate it to. So just focus on trying to connect with it, just like you're plugging your cell phone up to the computer. You don't have to understand what's going on. If you do that, the computer and the cell phone sync up everything, and it does everything for you. You don't have to understand. That's the thing about meditation. You don't have to understand it. You don't have to believe in it for it to work. You don't have to do anything. As long as you can spend time closing your eyes and just shutting your brain down. And if those thoughts come up, let them come up, but don't engage with them. And if you can spend time doing that, you're going to start to see real change and real benefits in your life that you haven't ever seen before, because it's happened to me. I'm a year and a half into it, and I'm a big believer in it. That's why I've got this channel here. It's changed my life for the better. My life wasn't bad before, but it's going on a different trajectory now, to where I know that where I'm going to end up in 5 years, 10 years is going to be a different story than it was. And I'm excited to see I'm 10 times more excited about life now. I don't know where exactly I'm going to end up, but I know it's going to be a better place. So anyway, again, if you're just showing up, there's no cover charge here. All you have to do is just write where you're from in the comments. And then if you want to like and subscribe to this channel. I just got 1,000 subscribers. I didn't really have a party or anything. Just going to announce it right now to everybody. So I just made 1,000 subscribers. My little nephew thought that was amazing. He's been trying to do that for 4 years. He's like 14. So I was proud to impress him. And he doesn't meditate, but he definitely has subscribed to my YouTube channel because he's excited to see what's going to happen. So again, down here at the bottom of the page, I've got a Facebook group that I've kind of started. So where if you want to, I can kind of announce every week, what time we're going to get started, or if there's every once in a while, there's times where I can't make it just because life happens. And so I can kind of let everybody know so you can make different plans. But I plan to do this every Monday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, just like we're at right now. So let's take a look at the poll. There's a poll if you haven't voted. I normally put up about 4 or 5 meditations. This week I just did 2, just because I thought I'd do something different. Well, actually, I guess I gave 3 options. The Blessings of the Energy 10, we did that about a couple months ago, and it was really, I think everybody liked it. The pineal gland, and I will say the pineal gland is an hour and a half long. So if you don't want to do that, I wouldn't recommend you voting for it. But even if you can't do an hour and a half, and we end up doing it, just do it as long as you can. There's no bad meditation if you got to abort from it. Just if you could do it for 10 minutes, an hour, just spend time meditating. And if we vote for neither one of those, then I'll just randomly pick one. So that's how we're playing the game this week. So, and we'll get started here in just a little bit on the meditation. So does anybody have any questions? You don't have to, but right now is a good time to ask them. And I think that they actually end up helping people that are struggling. So there's not a stupid question, or if you asked a question before, if you could write it again, because there's a lot of comments up here that I'm not really able to go back and read them all. So, all right. So Christian says, this is my party for my 1,000 subscribers. Yes, that's kind of what I was thinking. I didn't get balloons or cake or anything. But yeah. So anyway, that's a few things about meditation. Again, I'll give everybody just a minute. If you have any questions, I thought I saw one up here. I'm trying to meditate. Catch it, say okay. All right, Jen's active on there. Oh yes. So I forgot to mention that I did do an interview. If you guys haven't heard of the Salty 7, I did an interview with those guys. They interviewed me about a month and a half ago, and I was down in Texas. So I went over their place and they interviewed me, and they just released the video. And I think that I've got this right. I better make sure that I do this right and not give you something else. Hold on one second. You guys should go subscribe to their channel. They kind of do Dr. Joe's stuff. They kind of follow his stuff hardcore, and I do as well too, but they kind of, I think, probably teach his things. Yeah. Let me give you a link here. Just a moment. All right, this is a link to that video, and that'll take you over to the Salty 7 page. I suggest you go subscribe over there. I'm going to put it out on my channel here probably sometime this week, a version of it. And but yeah, go check it out and check them out. They've got a good channel, and they're good people, and they got a lot of good content on there if you haven't seen it. So if you end up talking to them, tell them I said hello. All right, so anyway, does anybody have any questions? Right now would be a good time to ask. Let's see. All right, so Monica asks, I think this is a question. I'm going to put it up here. Speaking of breathwork, would you be willing to share some of your experiences in a high moments away? I'm trying to learn to breathe. I know there are a lot of people struggling with it. Yes, the one thing that I would say is just like meditation, I wouldn't overthink the breath work at all. I find that a lot of people do that. Now, there's not like I personally believe there's not like the perfect way to do it, and you're just missing one little detail that's the secret, and that's why you're missing out. That breath work is there as a strategy to be able to help you settle your mind down. Not to stop your thoughts, but maybe just to settle it down to where you can start to let the meditation or that experiences start to happen. So breath work is not a requirement for meditation. It's just a strategy to help get you to that place. So I don't get so hung up on it. It is very effective and very powerful if if you get involved with that, and it can definitely help take you there. It's definitely a great strategy. I don't do it all the time. I do it sometimes. I don't do it all the time, but also would not get hung up on obsessing about how to do it. Dr. Joe teaches how to do that. There's also like Wim Hof breath work. I'm not an expert at breath work, but I know that I do it, and what I get from it, I know that it's very beneficial. So I can't really tell you the science behind it, but there's enough information out there that you could go and look. But I believe that what Dr. Joe does and what Wim Hof do are probably very comparable. They are a little bit different, but I don't think that little bit of difference makes a big difference. I've done both of them. I have kind of the same experience. So I think that's just kind of Dr. Joe's version and then Wim Hof's version. Someone else may be able to tell me differently. But just spend time with it, play with it, and just, kind of have fun with it. It may sound silly, but just start incorporating it, seeing if it works for you. If it doesn't work for you, then stop doing that and try something else. But don't over-obsess it. It's just breathing in, breathing out, and then holding your breath, and just like they described. So, spend time with that. I hope that kind of helps answer your question. But some of my experiences, I will say that I think that I was probably unique. I have passed out like once or twice from doing it. I came back too. I don't think there's any danger in it. Otherwise, there wouldn't be a lot of people preaching to do it. But I did pass out. That's me. That was my experience. I don't think that's the norm. I haven't really talked to anybody else that's done that. So don't mean to be negative, but I will say it will just flush out your body. It's a pretty wild experience, when you start getting heavy into that breath work, and especially you're doing it just before meditation. I mean, it definitely helps. It is a good strategy. So, all right, so let's see if there's any other questions here, and then we'll get started in the meditation. What is your most recent mystical experience? Let's see, hold on. Make sure I'm not skipping a question. It really helps us so very much to be able to hear others' experiences, because sometimes it's a lonely process. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Christina, I think it's Christina Smile. It really helps us so very much to be able to hear others' experiences, because sometimes it is a lonely process in our lives when others haven't been into this work. Totally agree. That's why I kind of started this channel here. I don't have a lot of people in my life that, I just talk about breath work with, or, the things that I just shared with y'all. I've got family members that know that I'm into this, but, if I start telling them, they're going to probably put me in I don't know. If you're not into it, you're not into it. And I don't think everyone's supposed to meditate. I think the people that do are supposed to do it. That's just, that's why I kind of started this channel, just to be able to help people kind of share their ideas, to realize we're not all alone. So, I think it's Christian. What is my most recent mystical experience? Entities. I don't know what entities means. That's too fancy of a word for me. I'm from South Carolina. We are the reason why they've got Cliff Notes. Why they invented Cliff Notes here. I have an idea what entities is, but I can't. I don't know for sure. My most recent mystical experience was last week. It was, sometimes these mystical experiences are really big and they're really profound, but sometimes they're just real little. They could be small, but I will share with you, I'll probably do a video on this, but I'll try to share with you quickly, because I like to get the meditation going by 8 o'clock for everybody. So I did have, sometimes they're hard to explain. They have to spend time with them to be able to try to translate them out into planet Earth. But I had some people that I know that I've been holding resentment towards, and animosity and feelings of that for a long time. And let's see. It was the meditation showed me those people there. I need to spend a little more time thinking about this, but I'm gonna try to share it. Before I do a video on it, I'll have to spend some more time to figure out how to try to spit this out better. But those people were there and within my meditation. And again, those could be thoughts that people say, get out of here, you're not supposed to be here, just roll with it. So they were there, and it just all those problems with them. I realized that all those resentments and things that I hold against them were really just snapshots of the meditation. Showed me that there were snapshots of moments in their life, as opposed to that's actually who they were. And so those little resentments and things that I hold against them, they just got really small. They got very small. The smaller they got, the more time I was sitting there just spending time with it. And it just was feeling better and better and better. And there was something else that happened in there too, but I got to spend time with it. Sometimes these things, they're hard to explain, but basically, I talk about these meditations. Sometimes you get these things that come to you that are very logical, that I could talk to you about this and be like, yeah, well, don't ever, cross the street without looking, or some just very logical, reasonable saying that most people would say, but meditation will actually get you to a place to where you can feel that. It's like riding a bike I've talked about before. You can tell someone how to ride a bike. That makes sense. But until you actually hop on there and you feel what that's like, you're never going to learn how to ride it. So the meditation gets you to the place to where you can feel it. So it's easy to say, well, just let all that stuff in the past go. Well, that's easy to say, but not a lot of people can do that. So the meditation can get you in there, and you can feel what that's like to let it go, and to actually see and feel what it's like to just come to the realization that those things that you hold against these people are not really who they are. They were just little snapshots within their life, and they were just that for a moment. I'm probably the only one that's thinking about it. And as a matter of fact, I know I am. So it just made all those little problems become very small, and because I could feel that, I could take that feeling along with the experience of having it, and I could ball them up and throw them out. If that makes sense. So I know that doesn't sound like a wild, crazy experience. If you want some wild, crazy stuff, go on my YouTube channel. I got some stuff. People probably say I'm crazy, but that was, for me, I would say that's a mystical experience in the sense of, it was heavy. It was a powerful moment. I wasn't in this world, I really grasped it. So I hope that makes sense. Does anybody else have any questions? Yeah, so I think you mean entities like big blue beings and stuff. Sometimes Joe will talk about them. Yeah, I understand. I haven't seen any blue beings, and, I don't know. I'm not looking for them either. I'm not looking for anything. The meditation will show you what you need. And if one day there's blue beings there, I'll let y'all know. But I haven't seen them, and I don't look for them. So I don't really look for anything. I find that's the best way to approach it. If I'm looking for something, it's never going to be there. Every time I have, it's never been there. So the things that show up are the things that I'm not looking for, like some ex-girlfriend from 15 years ago that I haven't even thought about in 10 years. That's the thing that shows up. And that's the lesson that I get from the meditation, is having that experience show up. So I hope some of those things help. I think I probably spit out a lot of information. But I think it's time we move on. Let's see. Look like we got a tie going on. Has everybody voted over here on the meditation? If you haven't, we got a poll going. It's 36% and 36% on the blessings of the energy 10, and then the pineal gland is 36%. So if you haven't voted, right now is a good time to do it, so you can break the tie, so we can figure out which one we're going to do. So I'll give you about 5 seconds to do that. Just somebody go over there and vote. And then we're doing blessings of the energy 10. Just moved. Someone just moved the needle there. So, all right. If you guys give me a second, we're going to go to a Zoom call. I'm going to get you a link, and then we'll all meet in the Zoom call. We can't do it here on YouTube because of copyright, but we're going to do it. Dr. Joe Dispenza, blessings of the energy 10, here in just a moment. Let me pull up this Zoom right quick.
Recording in progress.
All right. All right, here we go. All right, so I'm going to put the link right here. That should be the link to the Zoom call. So I'll sit right here, and what we're going to do is I'm going to make sure that people are getting in, make sure the link works. All right, Monica showed up. Loretta's there, so the link's working. So what we're going to do is I'm going to give everybody 5 minutes in case anybody needs to use the restroom. Just kind of do that every week in case I'm sure there's a couple people out there that don't want to miss the start of the meditation. So it's 8:05. We'll get started in 5 minutes at 8:10. We'll meet on the Zoom call here, and in 5 minutes I'll shut down the live stream, and we'll just be on the Zoom call. So make sure you get over to the Zoom call, and we'll be back in 5 minutes. I'll shut down. Yeah, sorry. Well, somebody's dog's barking. Make sure you mute yourself when you go into the Zoom call too. All right, see you in a minute. Right.